My flip-flops slap my heels as I march down the sidewalk to my brother's house. I know he won't be thrilled to see me, but that's just too freaking bad. It's late, I'm tired, the library just closed, and I have nowhere else to go. The perfect end to the perfect evening. Fortunately, he only lives about a half-mile from campus, and even though walking alone at just after midnight on a weekend might be questionable from a safety perspective, wandering campus alone would definitely be worse. And while I could probably call my brother and have him come get me, that would give him the opportunity to argue with me about my choice of destination, namely, his house. Surprise is definitely the better tactic. And let's not discuss why I've spent most of my Friday night, the Friday of the first week of school no less, in the library. We'll ignore that right now. We'll also ignore the reality of Cal's reaction when I show up knocking on his door in the middle of the night. Not that I'm worried he's asleep already. He won't be. He and his roommate will probably be up playing video games. At least that's what I assume they do on the weekends, especially during the football season when there are rules about parties and alcohol consumption, and when recovering from the grueling start-of-season practice schedule. That's what he did in high school anyway, and I haven't noticed any marked changes in his interests since then. I managed to avoid him most of my freshman year, both at his insistence and for my own sense of self-preservation, and I'm as irritated as he will be that this is the inauspicious start of my sophomore year. To distract myself from Cal's likely reaction at seeing me, I start making a list of phrases that never end well. First up is the infamous, "How bad can it be?" plus its cousin, "How hard can it be?" Everyone knows those lead nowhere good. Next is, "Hold my beer," often uttered by drunken idiots immediately prior to undertaking something spectacularly idiotic. And my newest entry to the list, "Let me know if you need the room." I made the mistake of saying this to my roommate this week, and she's taking advantage of the offer already, which is fine, or it would be, if she only needed it for a few hours, like I thought. But the few hours I expected appear to be stretching into all night. Technically, it's not supposed to be all night. It's just until she tells me it's safe to return. But after 5 hours, I still haven't gotten the all clear. Autumn is lovely, but a little eccentric. And tonight she tells me she's doing some kind of a ritual to manifest the right energy for the year. She mentioned it having to be tonight because of the moon phase and chakra alignment or something that I didn't quite follow. I think she might have also mentioned needing a guy, but I might have misunderstood that part. When she gets excited, she starts talking fast and doesn't quite realize that not everyone grew up meditating naked under the full moon and reading tarot cards. I met Autumn during freshman orientation last year and thought she was fun, but we really hit it off when she wandered past my room and caught me changing the weekly quote on the whiteboard on my door. I started fancy lettering in high school while doodling in the margins of my notes. I'd pick an important word and embellish it. Eventually, I branched out into calligraphy and various other forms of hand lettering. Doing it on a whiteboard isn't quite the same as on paper, but it was a fun way to make my room unique. She loved it, told me how she'd go out of her way to walk past my room just to see what new thing I'd put up, but she hadn't realized it was me. And we've been friends ever since. Anyone who gushes over my art is good people in my book. She's open and bubbly and pulls me out of my shell in ways I didn't know I needed before meeting her. I've spent my entire life living in the shadow of my parents' expectations. Autumn doesn't seem to have any such constraints, and part of me hopes that by living together, some of her adventurous spirit will rub off on me. But being forced to stand up for myself to my brother the first weekend of school isn't exactly what I had in mind.